Well, first of all, I've got to apologize to you because I've done, I wouldn't say a ton of work, but a fair amount of work on this trailer since I last showed you and didn't record it. I didn't record it for two reasons. Number one, I had the GoPro and all my camera equipment at my shop because I needed to download all of the data and recharge batteries, etc., on it. And number two, I kept forgetting to bring it home because I've been so dang busy the last couple of weeks. It's just been crazy. So I kept leaving the cameras there at the shop, and then I'd come home and have some time to work on this, but the cameras are at the shop. And anyway, so let me update you real quick on what I'm doing. First of all, first thing you'll probably notice is the tent is suspended at the moment. And the reason for that is I built this front brace here to kind of stabilize everything. I was telling you that I was having issues with wobbling, and this was the idea that my buddy and I came up with, was to build this frame on the front. It's tacked to the tongue and has the cross braces just to kind of tie everything together. And so I did all that, and then I thought, well, just for additional support, since I've got this on the front, why don't I build these guys? I'll get you up high enough, hopefully, that come off at an angle, just to kind of add an additional set of struts. And so while doing that, I had to get the tent out of the way so that I didn't have any problems with, well, so I had access to get in there and lay some good welds and do that kind of work. So that's what I've been doing, is adding in that additional support. It's more weight, which I'm not super excited about, but this just wasn't going to work with as much play there was in that whole frame. I think probably what I'm going to do is tie the two bars together up top too. Again, it's more weight, but it's not going to be that much more than what I've already added. And if anything, that's just going to tie this back end to the front end and all the structure I've put in there. So at this point, I'm pretty much an engineer, I think. I've figured out all the angles and no, that's not true. I don't want any engineers coming after me and getting irritated because they've got degrees and I don't. Because I'm sure I did a lot of stuff wrong. Well, let me show you one thing I did wrong. See if you can see this, because it's going to bother me, I think, for the entire life of this. Do you see how that X right there is not centered with the spare tire? Yeah, I put all that together and was pretty proud of myself, and then I realized, wait a minute, something with that geometry isn't right, because now it's not centered on the front of the trailer. What can you do? There again, that's my motto. It's not perfect, but it's functional, and that's what I'm looking for, is functionality. The second thing that I've done while we've been gone is it's kind of dark in here. See that? That's right, we've got water. It's not finished yet, but my son was out here and asking about that tank, and he got all excited about getting that done. So I kind of quit from the front and focused on that and set up so we've got water. So that tank runs down. There's a line that goes behind the seat, pops out right here, and I've just got this little valve, a little ball valve, and the way that is set up here is you can see that it clears the door right here. So I can't open the door all the way because it's getting stuck there. But basically what that means is that either with the doors shut or the doors wide open, I've still got access to that valve, and it's just gravity fed. I'll turn you this way. It's just gravity fed out of there. So not a ton of pressure, but that gives me easy access to water to put in Toner's bowl or clean dishes, wash my hands. My kids can easily come and grab that and do what they need to do with it too, and so pretty nice. And this setup in here is pretty crude. Basically, this is part of that winch plate. I've used pieces of that for quite a while, but that holds the front brace, and then this 2x6 here just kind of holds it to the side. I'm thinking I'm going to need something over the top too, just to make sure that that doesn't bounce out. But it's honestly pretty secure like that, and with the weight of the water, I don't think I'm going to have any issues unless I hit something really, really big. And if that ever happens, then I'm probably in, the water is going to be the least of my concerns. I'm going to end up breaking an axle or something stupid like that. So I still need to figure out the breather line and the fill line in order to have that completely sealed off and easy to fill. I'd really like to be able to fill it from the outside versus to having to drag a hose all the way in here and fill it that way. So that's the other thing I got done. So kind of fun stuff. I'm going to tonight. I started grinding welds and laying primer down on it, and so that's what I'm going to do tonight. Is I need to finish welding up top those two braces. I need to just finish a little bit of welding work on that, and then I'm going to grind and start priming everything. And basically I'm just kind of grinding and priming a little bit at a time, not because I don't have a lot of time or because it's tedious, but because that extremely cheap battery powered grinder I have just doesn't last that long. So that's why I'm kind of doing it a piece at a time, grinding and primering and going through it. So I'm mainly just focusing on the welds where there's bare metal to try and stop that from rusting, and just to clean all that up. But that primer will crack. So if I am having an issue with poor welds or something like that, then that crack will show through where I've primed it, and I'll know I need to go back and rework some of that. And then once I feel good with the structure, then I'm going to kind of take a wire brush to everything, because there's a lot of rust on this metal, and blast off as much of that as I can, and then prime everything, and then we'll be to the point of doing that heavy duty bed coat on everything, and then we'll be set. So I'm pretty excited. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up, do some grinding, primering, and once I'm done, I'll set the tent back down, get that all bolted back up again, and this is going to be ready to go camping this weekend. I'm excited. I've got a fathers and sons outing with my boy and a bigger group up the canyon here, and so we're going to take this and set it up and use that for our camp setup this weekend. So it'll be good stuff. Exciting this afternoon. I'm working on a project that I need taken care of. I've got a neighbor and a really good friend that needs to borrow this trailer, and I need to fix a leaf spring on it. I hooked onto this a couple of weeks ago and went to pull it around because I was going to load some stuff in it that I was going to take the scrap from stripping down that big press that I hope you've probably seen by this point, but if you haven't, here's a little clip. Okay, now you're up to speed. So I was going to load some stuff in there, and I was pulling around the side, and I had the window down, and I heard all this rattling and clanging. I thought, what in the world is that? And when I got out and looked, something was wrong with that tire. It was just sitting weird, and sure enough, I broke a leaf spring. When? How? I have no clue. And I was trying to think of the last load I had on there, and anything that stood out as like, oh man, yeah, that's probably when it happened. No clue, not sure when it happened, but it was broken sure enough. So I grabbed the welder, and I don't know if you can see my welding job there, but did the best I could to, there you go. I kind of jacked it up and realigned everything and did my best to weld it up so that it would hold together for what I needed. got a new stack on order, and that's arrived. I haven't had time to put it on yet, but like I said, I've got a good friend and neighbor that wants to borrow this, and I'm happy to loan it to him because it just sits so much anymore. I use this a lot for my business, hauling and moving paper, and things have kind of changed over the few years where most of my suppliers are far enough away that I just have things freighted to me. I just don't use it like I used to, so I'm grateful to have someone be able to hook onto it, run it down the highway, keep the tires round, and make everything work. So anyways, that's what I'm going to work on this afternoon, and I'll try and explain things as I go. First thing I'm going to do though is try and get this up in the air, get that wheel off, and I already sprayed down. I took some PB Blaster and tried to spray down all the bolts and everything just to let it sit while I went inside and kissed the wife and dropped off through a few groceries for a treat that I'm doing for family night tonight. But now I'm going to mess with this and see if I can't get it done before dinner. So before I get too far along here, I just want to check and make sure that what I got is what I need. Because I've done that before, where I've torn something clear apart only to find out that what I got was different. 2, 3, 4. Hopefully everything lands like I need it to. Now I might have to get a little heat on these guys. Gonna go grab my breaker bar first. Alright, found a little converter, and so I was able to this longer bar been able to get these kind of broken free. Okay, there we go. Settled in there now. Now we just got to get that guy off and get the new one on. Okay. I finally got it. Wasn't any room to get any leverage on these guys. But finally got her. So now I'm hoping I got enough to where this impact could take over and spin it the rest of the way off. We're gonna find out. That guy's off. Okay. There we go. Throw this other one on and we'll be good to go. What have you been doing that's made you so tired?
Playing in the mud.
Playing in the mud.
Yeah.
That's the good stuff, isn't it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
But that's not fun. What the heck is that thing?
I don't know, what is it?
I think it's like
Messed up a little bit. I wasn't paying attention to this shackle here. See how it's facing down, that's facing up. Because it was sagged down, it made it easy to put it together that way, but it's obviously not going to work. So I'm going to take that apart, lift it up, get everything aligned so that it's pointing the right way. So this is probably the 34th time I've had this spring up in the air. Fortunate for me, but unfortunately for you, the camera wasn't running. And I say fortunate for me, and unfortunately for you, because I'm sure it's quite comical. Me trying to figure out this stupid thing. It keeps falling off and doing a reverse shackle. So clearly I guess I'm gonna have to get the U-bolts on, get all that tied together before I set this down off the jack again. Because I don't want to mess with that again. Okay. Moment of truth here. Sitting on its own weight. Everything's lined up pretty good. Okay, put my tools away and should be able to get everything put together and be done.